Welcome back to another episode of the Backholder Pod. Today, specifically, I think we are talking about a topic that is probably close to most investors' mind. I think over the last 18 months or so, a group of stocks have significantly outperformed the rest of the index. So I think this group collectively is called the Magnificent Seven. That was recently coined by someone on one of the media outlets. So the Mag 7 includes Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Alphabet, Nvidia, and Tesla. It's basically your old FANG stocks. They add in Microsoft, they took out Netflix, and then they add in Tesla and Nvidia as well. So I think this group of stocks collectively, they are currently riding on this AI trend and AI wave, and of course they're also benefiting greatly from the high interest rate environment and being able to because they are behemoths in their own industries. It's a winner takes all market. So I think I just wanted to kickstart this discussion and maybe go around the table to ask you guys what's your perspective. Don't need to be individual, but maybe just give a quick ranking of this seven. If let's say today you have a lump sum of cash, and if you wish to allocate to these seven names, which one will you be most inclined to less inclined, ranking from one to seven? Maybe you'll kickstart a discussion with Kelvin. What's your top two and bottom two of the Max 7?
Top two, bottom two. I give you top one and bottom one. For top one, mine is Tesla. Mostly because whenever I talk to people about Tesla, right, they will say, "Oh, Tesla is doing bad now. Their car sales have dropped. Blah blah blah." These kind of things, right? But when I look at Tesla, internally they are growing not just their car sales, they are still growing their energy business. They are still growing their AI, the full self driving thing, and they are also growing their AI bots thing. So these are the things that people are not paying attention to. Obviously, it has not it has not being released yet, sort of. So that's why the price is so depressed right now. But I think when all this eventually come out, it's just a sooner or later thing because they are already working on it. They have hired people. We can already see the progress. So when all this has been released, I think the price can go a lot higher than what it is today. Because right now the price is I think 170, which is quite close to the intrinsic value that I calculated. Or maybe not I calculated, that Boon Tee calculated. So that's my bullish view. Tesla, I think in 5 to 10 years time, it can give the highest return as compared to the other Magnificent Seven stocks. As for the most bearish company, actually Nvidia. First reason is because I think it's quite highly priced. Is it overvalued or not? That one I don't know. But I feel it's the highest price as compared to the other stocks. Then the other thing is, 95% of their stuff is in software as compared to the other companies, right? Tesla is hardware also, but compared to the rest, like Google, Amazon, those kind are software which are scalable. But for Nvidia is hardware, which their boom right now relies a lot on all this AI thing. So because all the companies are buying up all their GPU things to train their AI and stuff. So my bare thesis on Nvidia right now is like, okay, first thing, what if all the companies have already bought the GPU that needed for now? So basically the demand is not higher than the supply. So basically the demand is equal to the supply. So there's no one is rushing to buy GPU chips. So that's the first thing. So because right now everyone is thinking, oh, the Nvidia thing is to the moon, right? So the chart thing is a parabolic chart right now. So what if the Nvidia can't continue to give this kind of high expectation in the future? So that's the first thing. What is the second thing is, what if in the future AI no longer needs GPU chips to train? So basically instead of that, they realize that, oh, maybe CPU can also train AI. So it is a rewrite of the AI software. Then the third thing is, what if the competitor comes out? Okay, then Boon Tee will say, oh, but the competitor is so behind. So okay, maybe that's a good counterpoint. Then the third thing is, what if the AI has been trained already? So the first part is training, the second part is inference. So the training is more or less done, and GPU chips are no longer hotly needed. So right now we are just using a normal inference. All these things can cause Nvidia to underperform in the future. Not necessarily it will, but it's just some of the bullish points. So that's a
Okay, second person, Boon Tee, let's go. He said Nvidia's the worst
Yeah,
pick.
I agree with everything Kevin just said. No, fucking no. I think really think opposite of what Kevin just said. But if we go into all the details, it would be very long. But let me give you my list first. The first one, I will give the top two lah. Okay, the top one is Nvidia. So as I don't know whether the audience have watch the entire this at GTC. So they just announced a new chip, right? So called the Blackwell. So if you just observe their all this development in terms of their product, software, and so on, right? You can see that this is a company that have a perfect product, but they just don't have the market 2 years ago. And in the past 2 years, you really can see that they already there's already one super app there, which is ChatGPT, and that is just the starting. It's just like iPhone suddenly launched, and yet all the small apps haven't really come out yet. So there are all these things that's working behind the scene, and you can really see that over the next few years, right? More and more software AI will replace human labor. So I do see that they already found a huge market, and their sales, right, is like every companies like those have budget one, they can't afford not to buy the GPU chip, and then they can't afford not to pursue all these AI projects just to keep up. So I do think that the future is bright for them. I'm talking about the business but when it comes to pricing, comes to valuation, that's altogether different story. But at least trajectory wise, I think they're set now. Okay, that's the first one. And Nvidia, when talk about AI, right? I think people will point because that's the shiny company, right? But actually, the other one that I want to mention is Microsoft, because I think Microsoft is a lot more quieter. People don't even know, like, okay, when you try to link AI with which company, maybe Microsoft is not the company that they come up. I mean, for those who have concern on valuations for Nvidia, right, I would say the next bet should be on Microsoft. The reason is because Microsoft, right, they already have all this software to selling to enterprise, right? And when it comes to AI, these are the customer and these are the usage, and you infuse AI into all the existing enterprise software, right? And I think Microsoft, if you just observe what they just launched, right, like all the Copilot and so on, you can see that there's clear roadmap on what they want to execute at least for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's like it's not a bet like they need to win or not. They're already in a place that they're dominant, and they just need to infuse those AI and charge money for it. So I think financial wise is like very, very good for them, and valuation wise they are not super expensive. Yeah, not even expensive given the growth. So I do think that these two companies is like in terms of concern, not much concern moving forward. Maybe just the valuation for Nvidia, and in terms of how they can benefit from AI is very, very clear. So those two companies is my top pick. Then on the bottom one, I'm quite mixed, but I would say that if you just look at all these companies, which one have more problem, especially recently, right? I would say it's companies like Tesla, Apple, and maybe Google. Google one is, I think, some questions on their execution. As I think there's tons of discussion about them generating picture that's inaccurate. So I think they still need to work out the details and put their shit together. I think that's Google. And then for Apple, I think recently there's a lot of all this litigation and there's antitrust. And then if you look at the growth also slow down. So I think that many concern, and you put together is not small concern. And their valuation also haven't really dropped to a level that you can say, oh, all this concern already priced in. So I think that's the situation with Apple. And then Tesla, I think Tesla also interesting because for those who pay a lot of attention to growth, right? I think the growth, the delivery number for Q1 will be out soon. I think that the result may disappoint many investors. I think that's my feel. But if you look at the other development, which is their version 12 of FSD, there's clear improvement in many areas. So I think it's like whether you want to bet on the FSD or not, and how much uh, like prospect do you think on in terms of their growth trajectory. I think it's like they're stuck between these two. But I personally is very I have a very positive outlook in terms of their FSD. I think this is definitely their selling point when it comes to competing with EVs, as like those from China and so on.
Okay, lastly, Eric.
My top company, right, is Microsoft. I think compared to Nvidia, right, like just now Boon Tee was sharing, I think the thing that holds me back from putting Nvidia at the top, right, is the expectation. Yeah, and now the price has been going up exponentially. I think there's always this fear that it will like suddenly pop and then boom, crash back down. I don't know, but I think the fundamentally the company long term wise is good, but short term wise, I really don't think that I will buy at these levels. It's quite high. That's why Microsoft is my top pick. Yeah, I think their slow and steady. The keyword is steady lah. It's not that I like things being slow, but they are very steady. They're proven that even in downturns, right? I think when the stock bubble pop and all that, right? When was it? 2021, 2022, that period. I think they were still quite resilient because of their recurring income. So the market actually gave them like a bit more premium over like company like Tesla, which really died lah. Yeah, so growth company straight away gone case. The bottom company I feel is Tesla.
But you have
Base,
a significant
yeah, yeah.
stake in Tesla.
It doesn't mean that I have a significant stake. It must be my top view lah. And also doesn't mean that I need to sell off everything because I don't have a very good view of it. The reason is because like what Elon says, right? They are in this phase. They are in between two huge growth waves. So if you sell out now, you don't know when they will suddenly realize the FSD thing. Like you really don't know. It's like buying a lottery. So just hold on to it, lor, and wait for the wave to come, lor. I mean, you ask me when is it, I also don't know lah. But since I'm already in it, just ride the wave, lor. Yeah. But short term wise, I think everyone can see that they are struggling a little bit lah to realize the profit because Wall Street they don't see potential. They only want to see actual revenue growth, earnings growth. Like Nvidia didn't really shoot up when they talk about AI, ma. I think Jensen Huang has been talking about it for like super long time, right? But nobody heal him until the profits exponentially increase. Then they like, who? Wait a minute. Then they start taking notice. Then 2 quarters consecutive, wow, then they really fly until like crazy. Because once you can show Wall Street the money, right? They will like, okay, I think you what you say is actually coming to pass. Then they will like buy you up, lor, beat you up. Which is what happened to Tesla, lah. I mean, like a couple of years ago. But after that, the growth slowed down. Then they like, oh, pop again. Yeah.
Eric, if you are bullish on Microsoft, why not allocate some of the
Hey,
things? Yeah.
million times already because I'm still saving money for the.
No, I mean like if you are bearish on Tesla, why not sell part of it Tesla, move it to Microsoft instead?
I'm not bearish on Tesla. It's just like I don't think they have as bright a prospect as like Microsoft. I mean,
Which
if you
means you are
compare,
bearish on Tesla lah.
no, I can be neutral, ma.
What the?
But I'm just bullish on Microsoft, lah. Your world is like you either for me or against me. There's no neutral ground.
It sounds like a community, but
Must have neutral ground lah. Sometimes it's not a matter of like wow. And there's a long term and a short term view. I think if you ask me to rank now, my views will change. Like, but I think for Microsoft it's quite consistent. I think Chicken asked this last year also, right?
start of the year, start of the year.
Start of this year, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
start of the year.
I think Microsoft was my
Your
top
most
pick.
bullish pick, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kelvin also asked me the same question. Why
But he
you
asked
never
you why
buy?
don't buy more. Yeah.
Why
Now
don't buy?
today the question different. He say why don't sell Tesla and buy Microsoft?
Can I comment on the valuation part?
Sure. Put out what DCF ah?
No lah, just the chart.
Oh.
Hold on a second. Yeah, actually, I want to say because just now Kelvin talked about like the valuation and then Eric talked about expectation valuation. It sounded like Nvidia is like super expensive, right? But actually, if you look at the forward PE, right? Okay, for those who don't know what is forward PE, forward PE is today price divided by the expectations of the earnings, the consensus earnings over the next 12 months. If you look at the ratio, right, currently is sitting at 36.5 times. If you ask me 36, is it high or not? Yes, it is on the high side, but is it like bubble? I don't think so. What it means is that like now investors are buying at this price, right? Knowing that yes, they are still growing. The growth is actually like quite it will be we will see this kind of growth, like high growth, at least for the next 12 months, just because of the products, right? There's so much demand and the sales already booked. So they know that they are going to generate a high growth, right? So that's one thing. Second thing is that you look at the sales, right? Or this is free cash flow. The free cash flow shoot up from 5 billion. This is last 12 months, 5 billion, maybe just like 1 year ago. Suddenly now it's already at 27. I projected that it will be somewhere around, let's say, 40 billions for the throughout 2024. So you can see that all these valuations, right? I don't think it's like a crazy number, as long as they are able to sustain this kind of free cash flow with some, let's say like a 10% growth rate, right? It's still reasonable valuation. I think it's only if you think that, oh, this free cash flow is only one off, if it will come back down, then the company is like considered bubble. So I want to make that distinction that it's not like super overvalued.
But I think from Kelvin's discussion just now was that he don't think that the demand is sustainable, or at least the sales will hit.
Yeah.
I
That's the
don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelvin.
that's the thing I want to clarify, because we are all making assumptions, right? But imagine that, okay, now let's say Meta spending billions into all this GPU, Tesla spend billions into GPU. Will they continue to ramp up this kind of expenses just to buy GPU, just to buy Nvidia product, software, and so on, right? I think you need to look at, like, after they buy all this GPU, what is the outcome that coming out, right? If the outcome is that they will have more AI, they will have more tools that help you to save on the labor cost. The question is GPU more expensive or the labor cost more expensive? Like, one, you have hire one software engineer for entire year. How much you are paying? Maybe 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, right? And then how can you actually replace these people with AI? And if the answer is yes, right, then all these GPU sales will continue to go up, right? Because all companies, they want to save costs. So, and now we're just talking about software. Sometime in the future, we'll start talking about the robotic as well. Can all these robotic become like autonomous and, like, replace the human labor? If the answer is yes, you need to value the cost of that human labor, because as long as it's cheaper, people will just switch over to AI, right? So I think this will play out over the next 5 to 10 years, but definitely more GPU is needed now. And I think if you monitor those like large language model like development, right? I think there's one underlying assumption is that, the pieces behind all this AI is that, okay, first one, you need the algorithm, okay, just the model. And then secondly, you need the data. And then third one, you need all the processing, the compute. And then the questions to ask is that by adding more data into it, right? And by adding more compute into it, right? Can the performance of this AI become better? So, for example, from GPT-1 to GPT-2 from 2 to 3 and so on and so forth, right? If you have more data put into it and more compute put into it, you can see a clear line of improvement. And if that is true, right, meaning that they will just keep on putting more data into it, and you need a better GPU cluster to help you process it. So far, this is still validated now. So what it implies is that, okay, the companies will need more GPU. Like whatever they have now, right, they probably need like 5x, 10x more over the next 3 to 5 years or 10 years time. So I think this is something that maybe people didn't focus so much on.
But Boon Tee, why are you not buying more Nvidia? Why not sell off Tesla to buy Nvidia? So it's opposite.
Okay lah, this one talking about the how I operate lah. I don't do this kind of like switching lah. Not like because of there's bullish development, then just keep on chasing here and there. If I keep doing this, it will be like trading already. I don't like to do that lah. I like to like have a proper diversification and so on. At least psychologically or emotionally much better. Although I know that I have not been like optimizing the returns lah.
Okay, what about Keng?
I think my ranking quite simple. If you look at it from two fronts, I think on valuation, I would rank Alphabet the highest, meaning it's the cheapest lah. And most expensive, I guess, is really how you slice the story or how you want to sell the story. But Tesla, I think now I'm not a FSD like believer that it will come within the next 3 to 5 years yet. So Tesla, if you judge them as a car company, the valuation is the last. But if you look at it from a business perspective, right? My first two would actually be Nvidia also. Nvidia, I think I'm indoctrinated by Boon Tee. So then I keep watching a lot of the, all your presentations lah, Jensen Huang interview lah. I think I clocked in at least 10 hours worth of content. Then YouTube suddenly start recommending me some live streamer with Jensen Huang, some stupid thing lah. Like it was not even related to Nvidia. But yeah. So I think from a business quality perspective, I will put Nvidia and Amazon right at the top. The last one I think is Apple, because I think China is one part. There is not a lot of exciting things going on that they're working on right now. Like I think similar to Meta as well, but Meta is still able to squeeze things out. But Apple right now, There was this rumor, I'm not too sure how true it is, because recently Tim Cook went to China to meet the business leaders, right? He was talking to BYD. So they're talking about some potential, because they just gave up their Apple car ambition. I'm not too sure if Apple works together with BID, what would be the potential outcome, but I guess we'll see. So if you blend them together, I think my top, like a blended score, like if I were to rank them, I think Amazon and Nvidia would be top, and then bottom would be Tesla. So that's just my ranking. I feel like Amazon was not really focused here because everybody talk about like Nvidia or Tesla, like there's very big communities, right? I don't know, like, I have a feeling Amazon is just a quiet guy. Robotics, they're gonna benefit greatly. Their review system recently, I think they are doing some massive changes with generative AI as well. I'm talking about how they're like the whole premise or the whole property of why is there value on the Amazon platform is their review system. And recently, I think they're using Gen AI to really help you crunch the sheer amount of data. And I think moving forward, it'll be even better. So I feel like Amazon is just trying to tweak, optimize things around. And yeah, they're coming off their capex cycle. Hopefully, they don't keep buying Nvidia chips, and the free cash flow will go to the moon. And then valuation will suddenly seem cheap again. And then people will start coming and start chasing again. But yeah, I think that's just my perspective on. Oh, and maybe I think since we talk about it, we just say that what's our top pick and bottom pick, right? We didn't really tag something to it. Now I want to like start something. Like if you were gonna choose out of the Max 7, only the Max 7 contenders, you choose one that will outperform this year. Even though we are already 1 quarter in, but we still have 3 quarters. Anything can happen, right? So if I'll just go around the table, I'm not too sure whether it's the same that you think will outperform in 2024, according to your best pick as well. So maybe Kelvin, is it Tesla or do you think it's the Max 7 that will outperform in 2024?
I will do by elimination. Tesla, no. Tesla this year is bad. Apple, no. Apple, they have exciting news, but I don't think it'll be out this year. So the exciting news is AI. They moved their team from the car business to the car team to the AI team. The Apple Vision Pro, I don't think the next one will come out this year because they already come out ready. The app store for that is not ready yet because developers are still developing for it. So Apple won't have good news this year. Google, I also think not yet. They need to sort their shit out, like quote Boon Tee. Alphabet, Amazon. No, Amazon is that quiet guy. They won't suddenly boom. Probably the one that do well is Nvidia actually. Yeah, a bit contrary to what I think. But Nvidia will still do well because this is the year of AI, so you'll see a lot of AI booms. That's why Nvidia will benefit a lot this year.
Nvidia, I mean, is already leading the pack. I think year to date is up 87%. Congratulations, Boon Tee. But I think that's why it's important for us to kind of.
Yeah, I want to add,
Yeah, sure.
Bitcoin, the big event is not here yet. Yeah, we have to see what will happen for Bitcoin.
Later buy the rumor, sell the news house.
Maybe
But
Nvidia also the same.
Yeah, but anyway, I think it's important because when we say ranking, right, everybody have different perspective. So you can see Kelvin, right? He say maybe Tesla won't be outperforming, but he's taking a long term view. That's why he ranks Tesla up there. Then I think similarly because he's probably expecting certain game changing events like FSD, which will crazily improve Tesla's valuation. So I think that's why I think it's important to scope like what do you think maybe this year, what do you think in 5 years time, 10 years time, and basically write out your thesis to share lah. If not, people will say like Kelvin Lisa pick Tesla, right? 2024 year and they come over to the back holder comments that see Kelvin lousy. But then Kelvin has made it a point that he said Nvidia will outperform or already has been outperforming lah. Then Boon Tee, is it the same? Nvidia will be outperforming this year.
Yeah, short term one, I think despite all the fundamental stuff, right? If you want to bet on like this year, talking about 9 months, right? I think my only indicator is I just look at momentum. If today Nvidia lose the momentum, I also won't pick Nvidia. I think start of the year, I also say Nvidia. Why? It's not because the back well, it's not because of the chip.
It's a momentum thing, right?
It's just momentum, yes.
Okay, then I think it's not fair already. I think let me change the rules of the game. Let's remove Nvidia from this Max 7. So the Super 6.
And then I pick Meta lah.
Super 6.
Meta. I think the
Meta?
second highest performing is Meta, right?
So it's just a momentum question, right? Like,
Yes.
which
To me,
stock
to
has
me,
the-
to me, I look at momentum, talking about
but that's
short term.
Boon Tee's indicator. Then Kelvin, if you cannot pick Nvidia, Max 6, Super 6.
If based on my own trading style, okay, I don't look at momentum. Based on my trading style, I'm very familiar with Tesla's movement. In that case, I can trade options on Tesla. So if you want to base the returns from my own personal trading, Tesla would be the highest because it has the highest implied volatility. I can sell the highest value of premiums from Tesla as compared to the rest lah. Yeah, so in that case, my pick will be Tesla.
Okay, Eric, Super 6.
I think Meta. Oh.
Meta, you also choose Meta. Okay, I'm doing something different. I think Amazon will have something interesting this year. So we'll see whether Amazon can catch up with. Amazon, for context that we are recording today, right? Year to date, Meta is around 40%, Alphabet is around 9%, Amazon is around 20%. So I think Amazon is ranked second. Yeah, so.
Actually, we didn't talk much about Apple. I think Apple is also the interesting one. Because, you know, from time to time, all these companies, they need to do a bit of restructuring. By restructuring, I mean, you know, they have different projects running and then they just need to like prioritize, right? They make quite a huge changes when they cancel their Apple Car project. Then I think they said they are going to announce some AI, you know, some development in AI phase. So I won't be surprised, let's say after the announcement, suddenly people are bullish about Apple again, right? Then I think Apple could be interesting. It's just that the part that's a bit worrying is the growth. So I do think that these companies, it's just like we asked about like short term, right? My short term answer is like Nvidia followed by Meta because of momentum. But if I just look ahead, like let's say 2-3 years ahead, right, which momentum will be less important, I'll say I'll pick Apple just because of their culture, just because of how well they're running their hardware, software, the integration between these two. So I think Apple is the one that is interesting.
So I think just to rehash, just now when we asked a very broad topic about asking your ranking, so Kelvin, top pick, bottom pick is Tesla, Nvidia. Boon Tee is Microsoft, Nvidia, and Google, Apple, Tesla. Eric is Microsoft, then Tesla, and then mine is Amazon, Nvidia, and Tesla. So I think we are all looking at it from different perspective. Clearly, when Eric chose Tesla bottom, but he has a huge percentage. He was talking about it from short-term perspective. When Kelvin put Tesla at the top, means he's talking about it from a long-term perspective. So we need to have a more nuanced view on this. But when looking at it from a returns perspective, Kelvin chose Tesla because he's able to trade options around it. Boon Tee and Eric is Meta on Amazon this year. So it's an interesting bet. I think we'll feel free to leave in the comments down below as well. Super 6, who do you think will outperform in 2024? Okay, we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.